Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing something that we haven't done in a little bit of time, and that is talk about a book that I am reading. Sorry, I have not been doing that. I did not stop reading. Anyways. So today's book is called The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. No, I did not take off the cover. I was gifted this book. No, this was not a book that the person took off the cover either. Actually, they bought this book for me, and it came like this because there's books, okay? And you can see that it was found very interesting that it was discarded by the library. Y'all, discarded by the library. So I'm guessing there was a cover and then I don't know what happened. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. I just thought that was interesting. So anyways, quickly, I will read the blurb. If you don't want spoilers for books, I suggest you peace out. And then once you're done, you can come back. I'm not going to be reviewing this book all in one video. I'm going to be doing it piece by piece, like pretty much as I go along. And that's when the videos will come out. Okay, so since I do not have a blurb outside or inside of this book, because the cover is gone, I am going to read it from Google, okay? And in my personal opinion, I feel like the blurb, the blurb / summary on Google kind of gives away too much, in my opinion. But then again, I don't know how else they could have done this. So I'm going to read the blurb. If you don't want to hear the blurb, peace out. But I guess it doesn't really matter because you're watching a spoiler review of a book. So here we go. The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell is a psychological thriller about a woman, Libby Jones, who inherits a mansion in London and discovers it's the site of a dark mystery involving 2 entangled families, a baby found alive, and 3 dead bodies from 25 years prior. The story unfolds through multiple perspectives, revealing a twisted history of secrets, cult-like behavior, and a charismatic but dangerous man who manipulated the families, leading to a shocking and suspenseful narrative. And apparently this is part 1 of a 2-part book series. So I'm wondering if I'm going to have to get the second part in order to finish the story, or does this book come with a conclusive conclusion on its own, you know? But anywho, so getting into the book itself, we have 3 main characters. So we have Libby, who has just inherited this home. We have Lucy, who is a struggling single mother who divorced from her ex-husband, who presumably was very abusive, both physically and emotionally. She has an older son, I believe the son is 12 years old, who is his son. And then she has a younger daughter who is about 5 from another relationship that was after her ex-husband. Then we also go back in the book to the 1980s, I guess 1990s, I haven't gotten there yet, with a boy who is about, I think is 11 or 12 at this point, and his name is Henry. And so we go pretty much from those 3 perspectives. So we have Libby's perspective typically, then we have Lucy's perspective, then we go to Henry's perspective back when he was a child. So we find out pretty early on that Libby was adopted and that her adopted parents have left her this home. One can assume that everyone is connected to this home. Everybody in this story is connected to this home that Libby has just inherited. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, I am at chapter 12 or 13, page 58 of this book currently. So that is where I am at, and that's where I'll be stopping this review. So Libby inherits his house. She's not very well off. And then she finds out that pretty much. So Libby inherits this house. She's not very well off, but this house is in a place in, I believe it's in London or England, that is very wealthy. And so she could pretty much sell this house and be on her way. We don't know what she does yet. Like I said, we described Lucy. She's a struggling mother. She left her husband. She goes back to find him because apparently he visited his son at school, which I guess he's not supposed to do that. Who knows? And her son convinces her to go to his home to pretty much get help, get something from him without really asking. And his name is Michael Rimmer. And Michael Rimmer is definitely a creep, okay? And you could tell the reasons why she left him, let's just say. Now, back in the 80s, we have Henry, his younger sister, his mother, his father, and then also comes along someone who is, I guess, a pop singer at this time, and the pop singer's boyfriend. But prior to the pop singer and the pop singer's boyfriend, we got a little backstory on Henry and his family. So Henry is his father's namesake, and then pretty much his mother, who his father typically referred to as a socialite, who really wasn't one. She just kind of knew people. She did not work, and also his father did not work, but he pretty much waited for his father to die so he could get his riches. And then he inherited the house with some money, and it started to go down the drain from there. His mother worked for a period of time, and then when him and his sister were pretty young, his sister is about a year or so younger than him, he says that she pretty much just stopped working. He doesn't know what happened. We are at a point in the story where Henry is talking about how I guess his mother met this pop singer, and then eventually she wanted to, record a song and do a video at their house. He mentions that the pop singer doesn't seem really that friendly and seemed to not like him. She seemed strange, but he admits that he's a strange boy and that maybe she was just like him. But it's so weird to me because here we are, and you have a grown woman who is having this sort of disdain for a young child, and so obviously you're like, yeah, something has to be off. So anyways, he says her video wasn't great, her song was terrible, but unfortunately they had to endure her presence much more because one day she came knocking saying that her and her partner needed a place to stay. And so we see that his sister is told to lead them up to the attic in the servants' quarters where they stay for we don't know how long as yet. And once again, his disdain for her and her disdain for him is clearly seen. We also find out, right, that it seems to me, my theory is that we also find out when Libby goes to, I guess, retrieve her inheritance from the solicitor who shows her around the house. He pretty much tells her, gives her a paper that tells her what the story is. So her father and her mother, it appears that they committed a double, and the two teenagers went missing. And this is said to have happened in 2015. So this is some time ago. And the baby was left. And Libby was the baby. And so I am going to assume, my theory is, and I'm sure other people's theories would have been at this point, is that Henry and his sister were the teenagers that went missing, and her parents were Henry Sr. and his wife, the fake socialite. And we're also told that their money pretty much went down the drain pretty quickly. He didn't know how to handle it. He didn't work a day in his life, neither did his mother, so they were pretty irresponsible. And so this is where we kind of start to question, okay, well, I kind of assume how Libby and Henry and that family kind of match up, right? But then how does Lucy fit into the story, right? She seems like she's very much an outlier in this entire story, but we know that she's not. So it's very interesting. Also, a separate blurb that I read kind of like noted at that somebody moved in and they were living upstairs and then came the baby, you know? And so I'm kind of interested because now we know that this pop singer and her boyfriend were living upstairs. And we know that obviously at this time Libby was not yet born. So could it possibly have something to do with that pop singer who was living upstairs? There's also a thing where we find out that Lucy is a fiddler. And to me, it's kind of like, because she used to do this for money, I guess. And to me, it's kind of like, okay, well, pop singer, fiddler, does she have any connection, you know, to this pop singer that was staying at this home in the 80s? Could it be like the younger sister who is Lucy? And there's so many things that's just like going through and around in my head trying to piece these things together. And so I am just really interested to see where this goes. Once again, I am only on chapter 13, page 58, and these are they're very, very short chapters, guys. Like this, chapter 12 actually, I lied. Like this is chapter 12, right? So these are short chapters, which I appreciate because it keeps my attention span, to be honest with you. And also the switching from perspective to perspective is a thing that I find that a lot of authors tend to do nowadays. Or maybe it's just in the books I read. I don't know. But anyways, have you read this book? What do you think about it? Don't spoil it down in the comments now. Obviously, I'm giving spoilers, but just about what I'm reading. But if you have read it, what do you think about it? Does it sound like something you would be interested in? Let me know down in the comments below. And I will be back soon with another review / update on what I have been reading on The Family Upstairs. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.